Back. Today I'm looking at Dragon Mac 5. This is a new version. I used to use Dragon Dictate 4 and I've also used Dragon Dictate 3. Now the main difference between Dragon Mac 5 and Dragon Dictate 4, as you can see, is the visual display of the Dragon bar at the top right hand corner. Also, if you recall, if you've used Dragon Dictate 4, you should be able to click a middle button and assess your options top left hand corner and select properties. But now I've got rid of that and it actually sits in the middle here permanently. So what you can do is you can actually turn off your Dragon bar here, right, and just have this little button here to wake up and go to sleep. You can see the little indicator there, red, indicating the mic's off, and obviously that would turn to blue when the mic's in sleep mode and green when you're ready to dictate. First thing I want you to do is just right click the option icon on Dragon, 2-finger tap, or control and right click on the trackpad, and select preferences, because I need you to set it up first. Click general and then choose your settings here. You see on startup I've decided to leave it on sleep mode, so when I start Dragon automatically it'll be in blue mode sleep and I just have to say wake up. Show status window. This is the window, this is your Dragon bar top right hand corner, so if you don't want that starting up every time Dragon starts up, you might be using mobile applications that might get in your way, just untick that and it won't start up. You can turn that off as well, I'll show you in a minute anyway when you're using it. I would leave everything default like available commands, so global above application commands, and I'd also leave them set as generate application launch commands. So it'll look at what programs you've got on your Mac and create launch commands for them, so you could just say open and the application you want to open. You can also generate email commands if you require. This is your profile. I've just set this up 20 minutes ago, so I've just called it profile, and what I've done is, because I've got Dragon Dictate 4, I've not updated my previous profile. What I've done is I've created a new profile in Dragon Mac 5 to see how good it is, because apparently it's 15% better at dictating straight away and learning your voice. So I want to try that out, so I've done no training on it. The only thing I've done is when I set it up was to make sure I set up the headset, so you have to read a few paragraphs to check the quality of the headset. Now the headset I'm using is a Logitech and it's a standard cheap headset. It's not one of the most expensive ones, and you've got noise cancels on the microphone which helps as well. Apparently you can use the internal mic, but I'll try that at a later tutorial. And to be honest with you, I don't know how good that's going to be, because it's going to pick up random noise a lot, so it's got to be so quiet. And sometimes when you're dictating you can have noise in the background, be it from a TV, radio, or people talking. The next option, Dragon Anywhere. I haven't tried this yet. I'll set up an account later, but you can share your commands and stuff anywhere, so that could be worth a good look at a later date, especially if you're creating custom words. Shortcuts if you need them. Click into an option, delete and add your own one by clicking on the keyboard, but make sure they don't interfere with any other shortcuts on your Mac. Updates, you can leave that ticked if required, or unticked. I'll leave that ticked. And advanced. You see the advanced option, you choose if you want smart rules. Also here you see I can choose the maximum recognition alternatives. So if there's a word incorrect and I need to correct it, it'll give me that amount of words as recognition to show. Bear in mind, when you do recognition you should correct more than one word. Dragon works better when you speak in utterances, so that's how it puts words together and works better. So when you correct something, don't just correct the word on its own, correct the words that are also around it. I'll show you that later. Close the window. Dragon bar itself, you've got a couple of options here. The little eye will give you additional information if you require it. Also the button underneath, which is handy, will show you commands and stuff as you're going along. Another good option to have there all the time. Dictation mode here, drop down menu. For example, if you want to spell a word out and you know it doesn't exist in your vocabulary, you could add it, or you could just say spelling mode and then spell out the word you want. Or if you're in Excel, for example, you might just want to use numbers mode and not actually spell out numbers, so you use numbers mode. And you can jump back and forth back to dictation mode, spelling mode, or numbers mode, or command mode. And later on in another tutorial I'll have a look at transcription mode and see if it works better than Dragon Dictate 4. I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is turn the mic on in a minute. I'm going to dictate a quick paragraph, see how well it picks up. Now bear in mind, as I said to you, I've done no training on this yet or anything, so this is raw profile. So I'm going to turn the mic on. The heart is a muscle that squeezes blood and functions like a pump, full stop. Each part of the heart is susceptible to failure or dysfunction, and the heart can be divided into mechanical and electrical parts, full stop. Go to sleep. See, there's a few errors there. I said the heart is a muscle that squeezes blood, and it's come up. The heart is a muscle, discrete is blood. So I need to correct that, but I need to correct more than the word on its own. So I could just say correct muscle discrete, and then change the correction to that squeezes. I could select muscle discrete is, then change that to correct words that squeezes, so the heart is a muscle that squeezes, but I need to correct in utterances more than the word on its own. So let's see if the correction's working properly now in Dragon Mac 5. Wake up. Correct, the heart is a muscle, discrete is blood. Now I've turned the mic off so I can talk to you. So you see I've corrected more than just the words I need to correct. So I need to correct that the heart is a muscle that squeezes blood. Now let me have a look at the options. 1 all the way down to 6. I've got nothing in there to help me with that, have I? Look, the heart is a muscle, discrete is blood. So I need to edit that and put the correct utterance in. Now it says at the top there I should say edit and a number. So should we give that a go? Edit 1. That squeezes. Choose 1. Go to sleep. The heart is a muscle that squeezes blood and functions like a pump. That worked quite well. You see how I corrected that in utterances? Don't just correct the word on its own. It will learn a lot quicker if you correct the words around it. Doesn't mean every time I now say the word discrete it's going to come up with squeezes. It doesn't work that way. Just going to difference between the utterance better, and that's how you improve your accuracy. Now in Dragon Dictate 4 I had a few problems with that because sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. I'd a quick read up on this. It doesn't always work, the correction on here as well, so bear that in mind if it doesn't come up. Now what I want to do as well quickly is have that read back, really important. Now we can do that using the headset and using commands, or you can do it manually. Manually first, let me show you how to set up the shortcut. Go to your preferences from the Apple, or at the bottom select your preferences tab. Go to system preferences, and I want to go straight down second from bottom row and select dictation to speech. Make sure you're in text to speech, choose your voice, click play.
Hello, my name is Serena. I am a British English voice.
Check the voice you're comfortable with and have a look in the list and select customise if you need another voice. They're free to download. Now the shortcut key. Now here I changed mine to Control S because it doesn't seem to affect any other shortcut on the Mac keyboard. But it's entirely up to you. So when you highlight text, be it on the internet or Word document, and you select Control plus S, it will read back for you. To stop the read back you use the same command, Control plus S. But I want to use the commands like I used in Dragon Dictate 4 to read that back. Let's give it a go. Wake up. Select all. Read the selection.
The heart is a muscle that squeezes blood and functions like a pump. This part of the heart is acceptable to failure dysfunction, and the heart can be divided into mechanical and electrical parts.
Unselect that. Go to sleep. That seems a lot better to me. That seems quite accurate now I've corrected the first line. Now there's a lot to remember now. If you want to know where your commands are, first turn on the mic and then turn it off manually. See, I've turned off the mic, or you can say turn mic on or turn mic off. Select commands and then it gives you the commands for what application you've got open. In this case I've got Word 2016, the new version. So if I click on dictation, we now have some commands to use in Word 2016. Always worth a look at, for example, special symbols we might not use every day. Punctuation, because we don't normally say a punctuation, we just do it, so that's another great option there. Proofreading, which I just did. So you could proofread. I show you just a section. You don't have to read the whole document by saying select all. I'll show you that in a minute. So I could say read text through to text. So I could say read heart to squeezes. So we have a look at that as well. And we have your text editing options and movements. So definitely worth a little look at there. So let's try and read back just a section of that paragraph. Select heart to squeezes. Read the selection.
Heart is a muscle that squeezes.
Unselect that. Go to end. Go to sleep. Still notice the cursor seems to pick up not quite in the correct spot. I do know in the older versions you had to use a command called cache, so it could tell where the cursor has moved to and what's been added. But I'm not sure if it will work on Word 2016 because it should work anyway. Wake up. Cache document. Select heart to squeezes. Read the selection.
Heart is a muscle that squeezes.
Unselect that. Go to end. Go to sleep. I used the cache command and it still didn't quite work, as you can see. But not to worry, that's not a major issue. Let's try another paragraph. Wake up. The electrical part of the heart is centered on the periodic contraction, open bracket, squeezing, close bracket, of the muscle cells that is caused by the cardiac pacemaker, located in the sinoarterial node, full stop. Go to sleep. So I can read that back, but I've got a problem there straight away. I've not pronounced that word right. Pacemaker located in the sino artery. That's not the word, and because it's a medical terminology, you see how I struggled with that one. I need to correct that with the correct spelling. So again, I just don't want to correct the word that's wrong. I need to correct the words around it as well, and that's how it improves the accuracy. So I'm going to say correct located in the sino artery or note, because there's quite a few words around, because a note should be node as well. But as it got the previous words wrong, there's not much chance of getting the word node right, because it doesn't make sense in that utterance. And this is how Dragon learns. So let me correct that. Wake up. Correct located in the sino artery or note. Edit 1. Spelling mode. SINOATRIAL. Dictation mode. Spacebar. Node. Choose one. Go to sleep. And you see how quick that was to correct, but just get in the habit of correcting properly. You only have to do that first few weeks or maybe a month, but the accuracy will be so much better. Now let's try a few formatting options, see if they work okay in Word 2016. Again, it should work anywhere, so it should work in Pages as well, or Notepad. Wake up. Go to end. Bold heart is a muscle. Underline functions. Italicise heart. Uppercase mechanical. Lowercase mechanical. Put brackets around dysfunction. Bold electrical part. Cache document. Bold contraction. Underline squeezes. Delete blood. Undo that. Go to sleep. Now looking at that quickly, you can see it's missing out a letter. It's not quite picking up what I'm saying for some reason. I've used the cache command, so it looks to me there's a little error in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try that out in Word 2011. See if we get the same issues. Contrary to basic understanding of the cardiovascular system, the heart cannot itself receive enough oxygen and nutrients from the blood it pumps, and it must be supplied with blood as if there were any other organ in the body. Full stop. Go to sleep. Now I want to check this as well quickly. I want to correct that quickly again. It says the heart cannot receive enough oxygen. So I need to change that quickly. Wake up. Correct, the car cannot yourself receive. Edit 1. Go to end. Scratch word. Scratch word. Scratch word. Scratch word. Spacebar. Heart cannot itself receive enough. Scratch word. Choose one. Go to end. Bold cardiovascular. Underline organ. Bold system. Italicise oxygen. Uppercase nutrients. Put brackets around blood pumps. Italicise understanding. Select receive to blood. Select receive to blood. Set font size to 20 points. Set font size to 11 points. Go to end. Delete blood pumps. Undo that. Select all. Read the selection.
Contrary to basic understanding of the cardiovascular system, the heart cannot itself receive enough oxygen nutrients from the blood pumps, and it must be supplied with blood as if there were any other organ in the body.
Unselect that. New line. Go to sleep. I think it might be a little bug in the new Word 2016 because it's working fine in Word 2011, as you can see. Don't seem to be an issue. But let's try a few more commands out. Wake up. Select all. Cut selection. New line. Caps on. Just doing a test. New line. Caps off. Just doing a test. New line. Hide status window. Show status window. Show available commands window. Hide available commands window. New line. All caps on. How are you doing? All caps off. New line. Select doing. Set font size to 18 points. Select doing. Underline doing. New line. I'm now going to test out the command scratch there and see if that works okay, comma, hoping it will be okay. Scratch that. Scratch that. Scratch that. Undo that. Scratch word. Delete census, that works. Undo that. New line. Select I'm to works. Read the selection.
I'm now going to test in command scratch senses that works.
Delete that. It's not too bad. It seems to be working better than 2016 because the cursor knows exactly where it is in the actual application. And even though I used the cache command in Word 2016, it still had trouble finding that. To see how you go with that. Next I want to look at when you make an error, not when Dragon makes an error. We've been using the correct command when Dragon makes a misrecognition. But if you make an error, we need to use the select command. We don't need to correct Dragon if you want to change something. Let me show you. Let's do a quick paragraph. Wake up. In a pair of papers from the early 1960s, comma, Leibniz rejects and even mocks traditional privation theory, full stop. Go to sleep. Now I put 1960s, I actually wanted 1670s, so I don't want to use the correct command here. I want to use the select command because I made the error. Wake up. Select 1960s. 1670s. Go to end. Go to sleep. And there you go, it's corrected. Make sure you use the select option when you make an error and the correct option when Dragon makes a misrecognition. Don't start using the select option when Dragon makes a recognition because you're just changing the error yourself and you're not training Dragon. Make sure you get them correct. Now, let me show you how to add a name. Really important. Now, adding to your vocabulary is quite easy. Go to the top, right click and select Edit Vocabulary. Now you can add a new word by clicking plus and off you go. But I want to show you what happens if the name exists more than once. Let me show you. For example, Ian. Say you spell Ian a certain way. Click enter. Always check your vocabulary first because chances are they do exist already in there. And there's Ian. But what if you actually spelled a name differently? Say it's IN. Pop it back in and click the enter key. And there it is as well. So how will Dragon differentiate between Ian because they sound phonetically the same? Let me show you. Say you want to use IAIN rather than IAN. Wake up. New paragraph. Nice to meet you. My name is Ian. Full stop. New line. Nice to meet you. My name is Ian. Full stop. New line. Go to sleep. Now you could switch to spelling mode and change it, but it's a bit time consuming. Let me show you. Wake up. Nice to meet you. My name is spacebar. Spelling mode. Cap I. A-I-N. Dictation mode. Full stop, new line. Go to sleep. You don't want to do that all the time or type it in, do you? So if I say Ian again, it won't bring up I-A-I-N. Wake up. Nice to meet you, my name is Ian. Go to sleep. If you're doing a thesis or dissertation on a certain person, the last thing you'll do is have to keep adding that name. Now, because it sounds phonetically the same as Ian, they both sound phonetically, it's quite difficult for Dragon to choose which one you need. So go to the top, and that's how we can play around with your vocabulary, and select Edit Vocabulary. I know when I say Ian it brings up IAN, so why don't I add a new one with plus, and I'm going to pop Ian back in. I already know it exists in your vocabulary. Problem with it existing in your vocabulary, you can't delete it in your vocabulary, which is a pain, because you might think, well, I can just delete that IAN and then I can leave IAN excluded. You can't delete them from your vocabulary. So I've got an easier way. Pop the name there in, and why don't I call this, doesn't matter how you spell Ian in this case, in a spoken form. I'm just going to call this Ian Main. And you can always delete it later because it's an added word that you've added. Click OK. So every time I say Ian Main, it should bring up the correct spelling that I want. Should we try it out? Close the window. And you see I've not even trained it. Sometimes you don't need to train it, so I'm going to try it out straight away. Wake up. Nice to meet you, my name is Ian Main. Go to sleep. And there you go, it's brought up the Ian I want. Wake up. Capitalise nice. Go to sleep. Now if it doesn't pick up first time, no problem. Go back up to Dragon, right click, and go down to Edit Vocabulary. Because in that Edit Vocabulary option, you've got an option to train the word so it picks it up better. So I'm going to type Ian back in there. Click enter. And there we go. And you see which one is mine because it's got a silhouette, which is a user one. If I click user, it'll also be in those options there as well. And there we go. Ian. So if it's not picking up, just click the little button down here and select train. And then you can train Dragon to understand how the word's pronounced. I'll go through that anyway. Click train once. Ian Main. Ian Main. Ian Main. And close. And then close the window, and that should train it. While I'm in this option quickly, you can choose the word after you've done the Ian if you want it capitalised or uppercase, or you can have capitalisation on or all uppercase off or on. So you can change the formatting once you put the word in, how the words afterwards. You can insert spaces between them if required or not. I prefer to insert space, but that depends on what formatting words you're doing. So we've seen how we can easily add names. Last thing I'm going to show you on here quickly is go down to improve recognition. Now I deliberately didn't show you the voice training because I wanted to try Dragon out without training it first, just to see how good it was out of the box, rather than train it all up and then see how good it was. So go to voice training and spend a little time, click next reading these. So I want you to read these stories. You have to read them all at once, just maybe a story once a week, and that should definitely improve the accuracy for you. And another great option now I recommend doing is tap back on your Dragon icon. Improve recognition is the vocabulary training. What just do is if you've done some work, I've done an essay, I want you to add it using the add button. It will analyse it, then adapt to your writing style. So it has to be work you've used, not someone else, because it adapts to your style of writing, how you put words together. It also takes words out that doesn't exist within the vocabulary and asks you if you want to add them from your work. And if you're doing philosophy or a medical degree or something along that nature, that could be quite handy as well. So I would definitely recommend doing that because I've noticed that does make a big difference in previous versions. So there's a quick tutorial on using Dragon Mac 5. On the whole, I say the dictation accuracy from the beginning is better, but compared to Dragon Dictate 4, I say it's probably about the same. There's no big changes that will blow you away with commands but the accuracy looks pretty good. I mean, look at the top here. In a pair of papers from the early 1670s, it's actually got Libinitz correct. Now, Dragon Dictate 4, if I started using unusual names, it would struggle straight away. So that shows how accurate this can get. They've also got rid of an option in there. They used to have a slider. You could speed it up, but it's not as accurate, or you can slow it down and have more accuracy. They've got rid of that slider, and it automatically learns, so you'd have to play around messing about with that. I'll do further tutorials on Safari, on the internet and Chrome, and also I'll do another one on using the commands option. So look for further video tutorials on Dragon Mac 5. Thanks for watching.